Yeah, running, got me gunning. Old school cat, got me stunning. Funny how the rest go.
Hey, what is up you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Cherie here, and today I'm so excited to share with you 22 different things I've learned from 22 years of my life. And my 23rd birthday just passed, so I thought that this was the best time to make this video to my younger self. And these are just some lessons that I wish I knew earlier. Although 22 years sounds like a very short time to be alive, and it really is, I feel that I've learned so many incredible things and really grew so much in maturity, especially in the last year. And found out a lot of things about myself that I wish I knew when I was younger. And again, I'm gonna make this video, and someone who's younger than 22 is gonna watch this video and be like, nah, I'm not gonna listen to her, she doesn't know anything. But that's exactly what I felt about myself when I was young and listening to my parents, because I was like,
my parents, they're just 30 years older than me, they don't know anything.
And that's exactly how I feel right now about being 22, because now I think I know so many things in life, but then when I turn 44, I'm gonna look back on my 22-year-old self and be like, and the worst part is that I'm probably gonna tell my kids things and tell them, and they will probably retaliate at me and say that
I don't know anything,
and the cycle will prevail. That being said, even if you are a rebellious teenager like I am still, I'm still a young kid at heart, I really hope that this video will teach you a few things that I've learned, and if anything, I really hope that it will save you time, energy and heartache if you're able to just soak up a few of my lessons. I really carefully curated these 22 things, and if any of them resonated with you, please do like, comment down your favorite tip, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so that I know that you like this video and so that you'll be notified the next time I post. What a nightmare. With that being said, let's go straight into the lessons.
Yeah, running, got me gunning. Old school.
You need to be happy with yourself today for you to be happy with yourself tomorrow. Sometimes I may come across as overly positive or very optimistic, but in general, I think it's so important for me to be happy with myself, to be happy with my environment, and also my situation every single day. Although I'm pretty young, and to be honest, I haven't achieved like crazy number of things, I really feel that when I did achieve things, or when I did achieve goals that I set out, or you know, an ideal state of things, I realized that I am happy in perhaps a brief moment of achieving it, but in the long run I realized that what makes me happy is really being happy every day. And for me to be happy every day, it really boils down to being able to understand myself every single day, being able to make choices for myself every single day, and also just having daily habits or daily rituals and routines that you can be appreciative of, and also to be grateful for the things that you have every single day. So I think something that I also want to do a lot more of is to take a chill pill. So I feel like so many times I ask my friends, you know, like if they are free or whatever, and they're always like, oh, I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm rushing this assignment, I have, you know, no time until 2 weeks later and that's the only time I can meet you, or I have a work appointment, suddenly I cannot come, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm just like, why are people so busy? Like, I don't understand. So anyways, something for myself to note, like on a daily basis, is to always keep myself free and to just really be very chill and take a chill pill. In fact, a lot of the things that I do nowadays are just very chill. Like, I enjoy taking the time to slowly walk to the grocery store, to slowly buy my groceries, to slowly come back and do some work, to slowly edit my videos, to slowly film my videos, to slowly watch my YouTube videos. I mean, not my YouTube videos, like random YouTube videos. To slowly watch a movie or a documentary, to slowly read a book, to slowly cook, or to slowly like garden, or to slowly like compost, or to slowly organize my room, or to just slowly do things and breathe in general. Like, I feel like sometimes people think that they always need to rush.
1 sec.
No, shh. But I realized that when you actually take time to slow down, that's when you can appreciate things for what they are, and having the additional layer of mindfulness really helps to guard me down and center me back and anchor me down into a state that just makes me appreciative of things. I used to be in a rush all the time when I brushed my teeth and when I did my skincare routine, because I was like, oh my goodness, I have to spend the next 20 minutes doing my skincare, and I always saw it as a chore. Until, to be honest, a few months ago, where I just really took the time to read up on the ingredients of all the different skincare products that I had, when I took the time to read up on my toothpaste. I know this sounds absolutely boring, but basically just understanding how it was made, how it was built, and how it actually affects my skin positively, and actually how it will improve the health of my skin in the long term really makes my skincare morning routine now so much more therapeutic and mindful. And this ties to the element of having gratefulness. So I'm so grateful that I'm able to afford these products. I'm so grateful that I'm able to apply them on my face every single day. I'm so happy to be with yourself, not only for achieving big milestones, but for you to be grateful and appreciative of the small everyday things.
Yeah, running, gunning.
Let's just say you're someone right now and you really want to take a law degree, but you're not doing it right now because of a few different reasons, right? Like everyone always has many different reasons why they're not doing something they really want to do. So for instance, if it's a law degree, perhaps right now you're pursuing another degree and it's not worth it for you to quit and to do this law degree that you are passionate about. Or perhaps another reason is that you don't want to disappoint your parents and you're afraid to tell them that you actually want to do a law degree instead of something else. Or perhaps another reason is that you are, taking care of your entire family and you cannot quit your job and suddenly take on a new degree. To me, all these reasons are very legitimate, and that's okay. However, if your reason is you're not taking a law degree because you're afraid of what people think about you, that is just batshit stupid, and you cannot let what people think of you be the reason why you're not doing something. If not, you're completely screwed. Okay, so now let's pretend it's not a law degree, but it's like starting a YouTube channel, okay? I wanted to start a YouTube channel when I was 6 years old, making videos with my childhood best friend. And we made so many videos, so many videos together. We did like so many skits together. We pretended to be Niga Higa and pretended to be Kev Jamba, and we pretended to be like so many different like YouTubers at that time. And we loved reenacting movies and princesses like Rapunzel. I know we're a bit crazy, but that being said, I never started my YouTube channel because when I was 12, I was like, this is embarrassing, I'm scared my friends will make fun of me, I'll just do it next time when I'm cooler. And then when I was 15, I thought the exact same thing. I was like, I'll just do it next time when I'm cooler and not so weird. And then when I was 18, I was just like, I kind of want to do it but I'm scared. And even when I was 19, I was still very scared. But when I was 19, I went to America for student exchange, and like all my friends were like, bro, just do it, like no one gives a shit, just do it. So I was just like, fine, I'll do it. And the minute I did it, I was so proud of myself. Just making that one YouTube video, to be honest, it was so bad, it was such a bad YouTube video. But just making that first video made me realize that I had been afraid for nothing at all. Because no one made fun of me, at least to my face. To be honest, like no one really cared about what I was doing because they all have their own lives, obviously. And to be honest, there was nothing wrong that I was putting out. Like I wasn't like swearing or doing anything wrong, to be honest. Like there was no reason why I had to be afraid. So there's so many times where we have dreams where we don't pursue them because we are afraid of what people think about us. But nah, just don't do that. No. I do not approve of that. I think you should really go for your dreams and just not give a shit about what other people think. Because if you do, you're gonna be put into a direction of conformity, which is no. You want to be an individual that you can be proud of and call your own. So please do not be afraid to make mistakes, and please do not be afraid to chase your dreams just because you're afraid of being made fun of. And you want to get used to being embarrassed, okay? Because when you're embarrassed, it means you're uncomfortable, and no one likes being embarrassed, of course, because it feels really weird and awkward for everyone. But that's the only way you get better, okay? Every single YouTuber's first video is terrible, okay? Let's just face it. Every single doctor's first surgery is probably not that great, okay? Let's just say that. And every artist's first painting was probably like a flower on like a weird canvas, and it looked really bad, okay? Like the flower was probably painted in like black paint. So what I'm trying to say here is that everyone's first step will look really ugly, but it doesn't matter because there's growth. There is so much value in being vulnerable as well as in being imperfect, because that's when we can relate to other people. Because if you're too busy trying to be perfect or trying to appear perfect rather than, focusing on giving impact, on listening to others, and on being your best self, then you're taking the focus away from the interaction itself and putting it on yourself, which is honestly not, the best way to live, to be honest. And I feel like when you can fully own and accept all your imperfections and all your vulnerabilities, that's when you truly become invincible, and there's really nothing to be ashamed of. So I myself have so many different imperfections and flaws and things that I'm working on every single day. But it's really through all these struggles that I have made so many incredible friends that are supporting my journey. And at the same time, my friends are also not perfect and they do make mistakes and all that kind of crazy things, but that's where the friendship really kicks in, and that's where you can really laugh about things. I think making choices is actually a very good way for me to exercise choosing between things that make me happy and things that don't really make me happy. And also another thing is that I always try to make choices that will also result in my long-term happiness. So for instance, working out may not feel, very pleasant in the exact moment because it is painful. Your muscles are literally breaking apart and tearing apart. However, the next day I always feel so satisfied with my workouts. And when I am doing my workouts, for instance, like I feel happy that I'm able to move my body, and I find enjoyment in just being able to walk out of my house, being able to carry grocery bags, being able to jump around. This brings me on to my next point, which is to say yes to yourself. So the reason why I say this is because so many of the time when we're growing up, especially as like kids, we are told by our parents or authoritative figures to always listen and to respect like people who are older than you, which I really truly do. And sometimes what that means is that it boils down to being rewarded for being obedient. And growing up, my default answer was yes, which meant that if someone asked me to join like something, I'll be like, yeah, sure. If someone asked me to go out, I'll be like, yeah, sure. If someone said that they wanted to, like borrow something from me, I'm like, yeah, sure, like go ahead. Or if someone wanted to, I don't know, like just anything, I'm always saying yes. And sometimes that's okay when it comes to small things, to be honest, but when it comes to bigger things, like for instance having to spend some time, money, or like just any kind of energy on them that you may not want for yourself, saying yes too often may lead you to saying no to yourself. So the flip side of thinking about it is to just always say yes to yourself and to put yourself first when it comes to these kind of decisions. And you always want to weigh and think, for yourself whether you're saying yes because you want it or because someone else wants it. So it's always very important for you to listen to yourself and your intuition and to see whether saying yes in a particular scenario would mean saying yes to your goals, or would it be saying no to your goals and saying yes to someone else because you want them to feel better. So yeah, ultimately just be yourself, play your own cards, and ensure that when you're saying yes to something, it's because you really genuinely want to for the purpose of achieving your goals, and not because you're saying yes out of default.
Yeah, running, gunning.
Always be open to different advice, and the reason why I say this is because so many times growing up I realized that my mom would give me an advice, or like my dad would tell me something, and initially I wouldn't be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. I would just be like, no way, I'm not listening to whatever you're saying. And sometimes it's out of a rebellious attitude, or sometimes it's because I think I'm smarter than them, but of course not. So what happens is that only after many months or years will I realize that actually some of the advice is very helpful, and it would have been so much better if I listened. It turns out that a lot of the things that my parents say makes so much more sense the more I grow up and the more experiences I go through. I think it's very important to also be able to entertain a thought without fully accepting it. It's also a sign of maturity and a sign that you're able to think from a different perspective, and it will really benefit you in the long run. So the best is when you don't know someone, or you had like a prejudgment against someone that was bad or something, or you heard something bad about them and then you realize that you were wrong. It just really humbles you down and makes you realize that there's so much to learn from everyone, and of course to be discerning and to not just believe what everyone says. So yeah, generally speaking, I feel like this has actually served me very well in my life.
Yeah, running, gunning.
I've observed that I only need a handful of friends to be truly happy, and I think a close friend or just general bunch of close friends is so important for your mental well-being and also social well-being, and also they keep your sanity in check. So I feel like no matter where you go, whether you're interning, working, in school, maybe in like the army, or like if you are like struggling through something, it's so important for you to just have that one close friend or a handful of close friends to get you through the difficult time, and also to just be able to relate to someone else just makes me feel so much better. And I realized that when I was very young, like I always had a lot of friends, a lot of acquaintances, and I am still a very sociable person, to be honest, and I am an extrovert, so I get a lot of energy from different people. But I found out that ultimately you just need a few close friends to be happy. You want to have people that you can trust and respect mutually. So what I'm saying here is that I think there's so many people outside that you meet where you don't really know their true intentions or where they came from, or perhaps what they're dealing with, which is completely okay. I think it's so important for all of us to also find out, whether we can trust them as a human being, and also whether we can rely on them when things get hard, and also are they someone that, can respect you. Because although it takes some time to find out these elements, I feel that if you want a truly solid friendship or relationship, it's so important to have respect, to have trust, and to have that kind of understanding for you to have a long-term healthy, stable, proper, you know, like emotionally stable relationship with them. And I feel like if it's not the case, it's a sign of a potentially damaging relationship that you may want to just avoid in general. And sometimes, I mean, it's so normal when you meet friends and you think you can trust them, but then over time, you know, things happen and you can't really trust them anymore. I think it's okay for you to just realize that, you know, if trust is a priority and if respect is a priority and they're breaking those, you know, red flags, it's okay for you to say no to that kind of treatment so that you can say yes to yourself and treat yourself better. And yeah, I think just slowing down and being present is so important. Which brings me on to my next point. Being 100% present and authentic is the best gift that you can give to anyone. And this is also aligned with why having few friends or few close friends is very important, because you cannot be 100% authentic and genuine with everyone on the planet. Like, that will take so much time and energy and effort that it may not be worth it. But yeah, if you have a few close friends that you have, or you know, like with the people that you meet in your life, which I guess wouldn't be like 1,000 people every single day, right? But yeah, when you meet people, the best gift that you can give them is to be 100% yourself and to give them your energy and to give them your full listening ears and to just hear what they have to say before, you know, telling them things. Something that I also realized is that most people that I meet are genuinely good-hearted. And the reason why I say this is because sometimes in the business world, because I study business, like a lot of people will say a lot of different stories about different people and yada yada yada. There's a lot of gossip in this society we live in, and also there's a lot of damaging kind of like stories that people like to share, to be honest. But a lot of the times when you meet people for themselves with no judgment and you really just talk to them and interact with them and get to know them and to hear their perspective, to be honest, it's so eye-opening, because generally speaking, it's so important for all of us to understand why someone is doing something, and that way it's a lot easier to empathize with them, and that way it's also a lot easier to see the better side of life and the better side of people. So I know sometimes it can be difficult, especially if someone is doing something that you just don't understand, and I think the best way to find out someone's true intentions is to just ask them why, or to just really just talk to them. A lot of the time, it will actually open up your mind. And you know, similar to the first point that I brought up, you know, it's very, very important to be open to, you know, advice and information in general. So this brings me on to another point that I have, which is along the lines that true magic and growth really only occurs outside your comfort zone. And the reason why I say this is because, to be honest, throughout my entire life, the parts of my life where it was the most turbulent, almost upsetting, almost dramatic, almost like self-induced drama basically, or the most painful and difficult to go through, ended up being the parts of my life where I grew the most. And the way I like to see this is that, you know, I imagine myself walking into a room or like a cocktail party where I see myself in a lot of different ages. So for instance, there's like the kids corner where I am like a child or like a toddler. There's that tech corner where it's basically me playing a lot of MapleStory in Audition and just being cranky as a teen. There's the other corner where I'm out partying with friends and going out every single day with multiple different groups of people, completely exhausting. And then there's also, you know, myself being older, just being alone in my room. And at this cocktail party, I realized that the person that I can honestly go to the most and learn the most from is from that self that feels the most regret or feels the most guilty or feels, you know, the most upset, because I can actually go to her and just ask her difficult questions and learn a lot about myself. Like, why did I have to do that? Why did I have to embarrass myself like that? Why did I have to do that nasty thing to someone else? Or, you know, what is within me that made me want to do something that I would normally not do? Or why did I do something against my values? So I feel like, to be honest, even though we are really, really afraid of being uncomfortable or really being afraid of making mistakes or being afraid of being guilty and things like that, I think it's so important for us to, you know, take time to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, because, sorry, what I'm saying is just take the time to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's when we can truly, truly grow the most. And a lot of the times when I see my friends struggling with something, I will talk to them again like 1 month later, and usually when you ask them if they regret anything, they'll say no, because they've learned so much from it. And that's exactly why it's so important for all of us to really cherish some of the broken parts of our life as a whole, and we should really just be happy about ourselves as a whole and not just the positive parts, not just loving our strengths or not just loving, you know, the highlights of our life, you know, like the things we post on Instagram, but also loving the downtime that we have, the alone time, or the time where we feel really shitty about ourselves. And that's how you can truly be happy and really embrace even uncomfortable moments. So this also brings me on to another point that's very connected, which is that usually the best memories that I've had are the most unexpected. And this relates to meeting my boyfriend. Hi Zach. You know what I mean? So yeah, seriously, like, don't try to plan everything in your life, because usually life really just doesn't go according to your plan. But it's so important for us to be willing to have like impromptu experiences, or like spontaneous outings, or like, you know, going for things that you didn't really want to go for, or like signing up for activities that you were like skeptical about but then you went anyway. And that's when you truly meet people that you never thought you would have met. You will truly be yourself, you can truly embrace yourself in that moment. And sometimes, or many of the times, a lot of awesome things can come out of it.
Yeah, running, gunning, old school.
I think it's so important for all of us to have fundamental principles in our lives that guide us as an anchor. A lot of my life I felt very lost, confused, and like a poor child floating around on the ocean in like some flamingo onesie. But I think what I found out is that you need to have principles that really anchor you down, such that you know that you're always staying true to yourself. So for instance, some of the principles that I have in my life are like balance. There are so many ways I use balance in my life. For instance, work hard, play hard, I guess. You know, you want to also like exercise, but you also want to rest. You want to, you know, have fun and socialize, but it's also so important for you to be in solitude. Yeah, so essentially what I'm trying to say is that balance is just so important for me as a principle. So I think it's so important for me to also always listen intuitively to myself. And another principle that I also have in my life is to just always add vibrance. So be it in terms of like, you know, events, like I'm always trying my best to be out there and to just have fun and to meet people. I'm also trying to add a lot of flavors into my life, so be it in trying different cuisines or eating with different people. I'm also trying to, you know, I love traveling and I really want to travel once COVID ends again, but essentially I would love to live a life where I can travel and at the same time, you know, work as well. Vibrance in the sense that I want to do things that bring me joy and excitement. It can be in terms of sense that I read a lot of different books, I watch so many different movies. So I think it's so important for you to know your own principles and values so that you don't feel so lost. Okay, because that is so important. Only after many years of my life that I realized that actually health is one of the best assets that you can have, and having health is wealth, because so health compounds over time through your daily actions and habits. And from what I've seen and learned from my parents, right, like health is really so important for you to safeguard. If not, things can go downhill really fast. Like once you're diagnosed with a certain condition, it's very hard for you to go back. And I think prevention is always better than cure. And I think that's just a very good enough reason for you to take care of your health. So be it through exercise or just eating slightly healthier and more nutritious, I think it's so important for all of us to be aware that health is really a very valuable asset. And every day I walk outside and breathe in fresh air, I'm reminded of how grateful I am. Every time I have an ulcer, I'm like, oh my god, I wish I had a proper sense of taste and my mouth wasn't in pain. Like every time I have a blister on my foot, I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish I could just walk outside right now. Or yeah, it's just so easy for you to overlook health. But health is literally one of the most important factors of being alive and being able to feel alive. And if you're able to take care of your health, just do it and you will not regret. Another thing is that when I say health is wealth, it's not just like physical health but also mental health. It's so important for you to just stop and slow down and to just always be in tune with your own emotions and be able to process them. A very good way to do that is to just talk to people about your problems. To be honest, I know we all live on a very hedonic treadmill mindset or a very materialistic mindset, which is honestly almost like the default if you're living in a society like ours, which is very consumeristic. I try my best, at least, to detach myself and my personality and my sense of joy and entertainment and my sense of fulfillment from physical items. So for instance, my goals are never to like own a house or own a car or things like that, because those things just are not aligned with my values, to be honest. I rather focus on impacting other people and spreading a positive message. But that being said, it's so easy for us to get caught up with the next thing you want to own, when in fact you shouldn't place your happiness on things like that, because it will, you know, it may not be long term. You don't want to put value on things that may not last forever or may be taken away from you. And the worst thing is if you put your self-worth on physical items, then you suddenly don't know who you are if they are gone. So it's so important, so important for you to always place value in yourself rather than items. And when I say items, it can also refer to numbers. So for instance, do not place any worth on your grades, do not place any worth on like a certificate, or do not place any worth on your weight, or do not place any worth on your height. Like all these are very weird things to place your worth. All those are very weird things to place your worth on, and not to mention, you are so much more than all these superficial things. Which brings me on to my next point. Your looks should be the least interesting things about you. So we live in a society where diet culture is pervasive, and we live in a society where like so many big industries focus on very meaningless superficial things like your looks. So for instance, the modeling industry, the fitness industry, the health industry, even like the food and beverages industry, even the fashion industry, the e-commerce industry, they're all trying to run on the notion that you need to improve your looks or something like that, or you need to improve your weight, or you need to improve your height, I don't even know, or you need to improve the color of your skin. To me, all those things are so bad and so nasty. Like, just do not even think along those lines, because your value is so much more inward than you think. Like, the reason why people actually want to talk to you and make conversation with you, to be honest, I feel has really almost nothing to do with what you look like. Sometimes I look back and, you know, think about the times where I had puberty. I have so many pimples on my face. I also didn't even care about how I look like, blah 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 blah. And then I actually look back sometimes and think like, how did I make friends even though I look like shit, to be honest. But I realized that literally no one cares about what I look like. I can meet up with my friends from like 10 years ago, 15 years ago and whatever, and it doesn't matter what they look like to me, and it doesn't matter what I look like to them. We can just connect on a human-to-human basis. And I think if you're able to really talk to people on that level where you really get them, you listen to them, and you try to understand them, I feel like people really don't care about how you look like, to be honest. Yeah, and if let's just say you're in an industry where it really matters how you look like, for instance, you're a model or an actress, or perhaps you are promoting some clothes or something, I think it's okay professionally for you to care about how you look like. That being said, if for instance you're a model, and then if for instance you're no longer a model, then don't place your worth on being a model, you know what I mean? Like, just do not place your worth on things or on, you know, superficial looks, because that will not make you happy. So thank you so much for watching this incredibly long video, which was full of wisdom and fairy dust and also maturity powder. I really hope that it has helped you to see some things in a new perspective, and I also hope that it helped to remind you of some of the important things that we should always remember in life. And perhaps when I don't feel like being the best person, I should always watch this video and remind myself to. So if you enjoyed this video, please do like, comment and subscribe to support my channel, and be right back while I probably make some bad life decisions and still learn along my journey called life. So I wish you 22 awesome years of your life ahead at least. I hope to see you in my next video. I hope to see you in next year's video where I turn 24 and I have 23 new lessons.